Hello. I just had a consultation with an attorney, not to represent me, to give me some guidance, because she agreed that I will have more success pro se getting an emergency custody order with the change of circumstances and be able to bring in certain incidents without having to file unnecessarily, because I'm a pro se litigant and the rules of evidence change a little bit. I guess I have a little bit more confidence in the court because there is a new judge, and he could actually be a good one. I don't try to project the shittiness of everyone else on everyone. I try to manifest some kind of fairness or peace or justice. So my motion, obviously there's a lot going on, and I shortened it and it's still exhaustive. So I'm going to do the best I can to shorten it and really make it just short and sweet. Short and nasty, really. But bring in the fact that I don't believe, or it appears to be some kind of fraudulent activity based on my ex having been served with a protective order that gave me GAL status, and it found it to be a fact that our child had been assaulted and harmed by him, and that he were to have no contact. He filed maliciously to get the venue transferred, and then some clerk in the fraud, or some clerk committed fraud for him, a black female. She was the one in the courtroom handing the orders to the judges. Add a recused judge in that, and then the order that I got back, instead of saying, these are the reasons why we didn't grant it, it's just like a template without the judge's signature, just type changed file number, and saying there are no grounds. So looking at the files, I do believe that there is a pretty good, decent chance that judge never even saw the real order. That she was being, had been persuaded or otherwise coerced by omission of the actual relevant facts to dismiss our orders. Because my ex and his attorney, I figure out my ex's lies to his attorney, so they act in concert with him effortlessly. Just lie to him. He had been served with the 50B that gave him no contact, but he didn't tell the court that. He went to Forsyth County and just said, I'm trying to do this to make false allegations. And the fact that Tylea had her own order in her name and I was GAL gave it the ability to supersede those emergency custody orders. My ex knew that the emergency custody order was not legitimate or valid, and instead of being honest with the court about the 50Bs and what they entailed, because obviously the facts were hidden because of the venue transfer and the malicious interferences. This was, completely just into thin air gone. I find it really hard to believe that one chief district court judge dismissed another chief district court judge's order, where there was found to be a fact that she had seen a large slap mark across my child's face. So, noticing the other fraud that was in the files, being that I filed a motion to enforce an out-of-state custody action back in June after he had kidnapped her, because I had the West Virginia order, but unfortunately I had to go to the same courthouse where that corrupt judge had recused himself and violated all of our rights already. Little did I know that clerk who was in the 50B office also had, she would be answering phones and things. She made sure that I got in front of that same judge that day, and when I realized that he was going to try to interfere into the UCCJEA conference, I opted to dismiss him. I went to file a voluntary dismissal. And when I went into the clerk's office, and I have this audio recorded, by the way. I have everything I'm talking about audio recorded. When, it was multiple clerks there, because I had already noticed some fraudulent activity, including this is one of the frauds. So I filed this voluntary dismissal. She has me put it on my custody case file number, but that's not the file number of the motion I was dismissing. So she has me putting into my custody action that I dismissed it. What? I hadn't even filed anything recently, so I didn't know why that was there. So obviously that was so they could have the UCCJEA conference in my absence, and they did. That judge made sure that he put all of his slanderous orders, this rambling about my having no credibility, because he makes sure that women pay for trying to protect their children from abuse, and he doesn't seem to mind that there's no investigation, because he does it to a lot of women and children. They have this conference with West Virginia court in my absence, and they put on the order that I just left. I dismissed the action to stop it, but that clerk, Fleming, made sure that still happened. In addition to that, she has her initials all over all of the filings, and being in the 50B office, filing emergency custody saying that everything the judge in the other county said was a lie, knowing that if she read those orders, she would be, she would be have to be held accountable for that. And it appears as though no one that had the ability to help me has ever seen any real orders or real documents. And when I've tried to assert what I have had, they have been, through systemic discreditation. No one would look at my shit. No one would look at my documents. Nobody would believe me. And until I figured out about the fake therapist and the little scheme, and how, as time goes on, I see what's happening and how horrible it is, I realize that I cannot focus on the past. There's a lot that I can't deal with on my own at this hearing. So what I'm going to deal with is the fact that my ex is a dangerous criminal who's in jail and who is withholding custody from me. That I had been in fear from domestic violence, that my child does have medical issues that I have concerns about, and that there was some unethical or illegal behavior using the court to try to prevent disclosures or any kind of discovery of abuses of our daughter. That was obviously the case, because I have 911 records that show that during the time we had 50Bs in effect, he had been served to have no contact with our daughter, knowing that the judge saw she was slapped across her face, like he had assaulted her. I finally got to protect her. I was a GAL. He took this order, which he knew was not valid. The judge said this is not an order. They actually recalled a warrant for child pickup. He decided to go and try to use those orders anyway. He got a copy and started mailing them to me, so I think it might be real, right? And then I bring it to the court, and then that judge puts it in the file. And not only that, is like numerous 911 calls where my ex is like saying he's got orders in his hand to pick up the child right now, and then it's been recalled. And then also, he had kidnapped her on June the 8th to prevent the forensic interview on June the 9th. And in about June 16th, he has his attorney file against me contempt order. Like I still have her. And this was mailed to my home, and it's like funky postmarks and like just odd stuff. Like something's off. The dates are off. I show up to this, and actually at this point, I think I went to the clerk's office, and I have audio record of that too. The head clerk goes and takes this contempt motion, puts it and files it for the attorney that I got in the mail. She filed it for him, stamped it that day, and scheduled a calendar hearing where there was supposed to be a hearing on WebEx that I appeared remotely. I appeared, and they're like, oh, no, the hearing's been dismissed. There was never a hearing. It was just one more thing to throw shit off. So now we have 2 documents that were mailed to me, and I bring them to the court to show the judge or the clerk, head clerk, other clerk, which, mind you, I don't think she's the clerk anymore. And they put them into the file as though they're actually legitimate orders. And then at the same time, they're hiding in different files and concealing the need for protective orders and not putting them to the court file for the custody case, which have facts. So that about sums it up. Lots of fraud. I think that I have a letter from DSS that when my mail was being stolen, the letter from DSS wasn't from DSS, but it told me I'd be getting a call from a man or a contact from a phone. Somebody contact me via phone, a therapist, a counselor. So when the fake therapist contacted me via phone, I was like, oh, there he is. I don't think so. I don't think it was real. And I guess I'll be finding out. And also going to be going to the school and places like that and seeing what custody order they have. Because I'm willing to bet there's something up. Going from that contempt order where they knew he was on drugs, they knew that he's dangerous, they knew he was lying, they knew that my daughter wasn't okay, and they knew I was good, that he had lied. Then all of a sudden they give him custody and they ignore the GAL report and slander me, even though I have evidence to the contrary of everything they portrayed me in a negative way on. Can't really figure it out. I don't know if maybe it's because I've been distracted with being attacked all this time that I couldn't address it rationally, because, my God, shit, it's just a nightmare. So, gonna revamp this motion, and I'm going to get in front of this judge, and I'm gonna see if I can address a few things. So, you all have an amazing day, and sometimes we just can't prove something when we want to, in the time we want to, in the way we want to. I want everything that's happened to be acknowledged. I want it to be known. I want it to be found to be a fact, because it's a fact. But right now, the most important thing is getting my baby back, and that is all I want to do. And so, least resistance possible. I don't need validation of everything that's happened. I have proof. I need to swing the courts back in my favor, and I realize that I can't be, I can't. The big picture is huge for me. Acknowledging what Judge Miller has done and whatever fraud else is happening in the court, because I really don't even know the extent. I'll find out eventually, though. But right now, it's Tylia time. So, keep on pressing on, mamas. Later.